So it's 13:50 hours, it's Thursday the 18th of January, and you join me here on board. And I was going to do the filming on my usual filming location, well, because I'm in shadow and you have all of the highlights from the windows, but I've decided not to break the rule of videography and to do it properly. So now I'm probably overexposed and there's a bit of a tilt going on. Now that might not just be because I haven't adjusted my camera tripod, that is because we have a little bit of a list to port. Now, I'll explain all of this in a moment because that's our newly developed issue. But let me just explain that today I'm waiting for the imminent arrival of the northern contingent of Team Indy, which consists of Brian, Charlie and Pete. And then we're going to be joined with Simon, who's the sort of southwest contingent, and then myself and Daniel from London. And we're all going to be working on the boat in various positions and tasks on 30 odd different things to get done. Now, they don't all need to be done, some of them cannot be done, but they're a list of upgrades, options, and basically getting things sorted, from cleaning the bilges to cleaning the decks to taking on a sea trial. Now, when I came down last night, Wednesday evening, it was blowing a hoolie. It was awful. It was rain, it was gusts of wind, sort of 48, 49 mile an hour, and it's all calmed down now. Which is unusual because the forecast is for quite changeable weather, but the sun has come out. Friday looks like it's going to be back with the rain, back with the high winds. So Saturday is our day, which is the best for a sea trial. Sorry, but we don't want it flat calm because we want to see what the boat, handles like in different varying sea states and so on. Now, I mentioned there's a list. Now, regular viewers of this blog will understand that I had some issues with my fuel tanks, which actually turned out not to be issues. Let me just explain. I'll try and do it quickly, but you know what I'm like. But just to bring everybody up to speed. So I bought the boat, and the guy that was working for the previous owner, the engineer from All Boat Services, spent a couple of hours with me walking around the boat, and I filmed him as I'll get there in a minute. I filmed him as he did, and I thought I'd lost that footage. It's actually on my laptop, which is here with me now, so I might be able to include some of the things he said in this video. So if it happens, great. If not, I couldn't get it off the laptop. During this conversation in the engine room, he told me that the previous owner came down to the boat after it had been a particularly windy period of weather, and the boat had a really bad list. Now, I don't know what really bad list is, but, obvious things, is there water in the bilges? No. What the hell's happened? Got in touch with the boatyard, they came on and found what had happened is the fuel had gone from the starboard tank, for example, it might have been the other way around, but we'll just say it was the starboard tank, gone through the centre tank to the port tank, and as a result of the boat keep doing this in the wind, more and more fuel had flushed over, and as the list got worse, so more fuel fed over. Their solution for this was to mechanically pump the fuel back across into the starboard fuel tank and then isolate the port, centre and starboard fuel tanks completely, and all of the fuel feeds from those and returns to those. So it just was simply port engine from port tank, starboard engine from starboard tank, and because the guy never used the generator, we don't need to worry about the generator. And that was that. And the boat was trim. Now, I then had the fuel polished. Guy comes to do the fuel polishing, and he's taking fuel out of the port tank and returning it to the port tank. Then he went and did the same thing on the starboard tank, but he said, actually, because my machine's going to be over here on the pontoon, the best option is we take from take from starboard and put back into port, and we'll open the balance pipe, and then the fuel will go through in a big huge sort of circuit through the centre tank, and we just leave it running for a few hours and we'll see how it goes. Well, what happened in a few minutes was the port tank wasn't emptying. It was just taking out of the starboard and filling up with the port. Not good. So he concluded that the fuel balance pipe was either blocked or the valves connecting it were inoperable. So we then had a list develop, and it was like, aha, the list has come. This is what the point was. This is what I told by the previous owner's engineer. So what we did was we mechanically pumped the fuel back over, and we had lots more in the starboard tank, brimmed, and I'd say a little more than 3/4 full on the port tank with a full centre tank, and it was left and the boat was level. But this didn't answer the problem with the balancing of the fuel. So I then got in touch with a different boatyard, and we were going to have to pump out all the fuel, and I was going to have, and I bought a 60 litre a minute fuel transfer pump, hoses. I was going to hire a 2,000 litre fuel tank to temporarily put all this fuel into and everything, disconnect the whole system, take it apart, check all the valves, check all the pipes. But we didn't have to. They came down to the boat and they took the top of the centre fuel tank off, pumped the fuel out of that with the balance pipes closed, and then individually opened the valves on the balance pipe, and fuel gushed in from the starboard side. Turned it off, went over to the port side, and fuel gushed in from the port side. Therefore, the valves were working, the balance pipe was clear, the whole system was working just as it should. So why didn't it work when I was there with the fuel polishing guy? Well, probably because we didn't wait long enough. So there actually wasn't really a problem. So he's done, he's serviced the generator, he's given me a bunch of spare parts for the engine and the generator, he's looked at the air conditioning system, it's all good and go, blah blah blah. I come down Wednesday night and hey presto, I have balanced fuel tanks. I have a full port tank and a almost full, 4 inches from being full, starboard tank. What the hell then is this list of port coming about? You know why? It's not really to do with the fuel, is it? It's because we're back to the previous owner again. You see, when the boat was originally manufactured, unlike most traders of this nature, 535, the guy had a dinghy, an outboard motor, simple affair, on the transom, on the swim platform at the back of the boat. Now the new guy that bought it from him, that's the guy I bought it off, decided to go and buy a Williams 285 jet rib. But that wouldn't fit on the swim platform, or it would, but it was like a bulky old Christ, you know, it's a pain in the arse. I want it up on me sun deck. Now I don't know if there was an existing crane that wasn't enough oomph to lift this 300 plus kilogram Williams rib onto the roof of the boat, or if there was no crane and one was procured. Now I'm then told by All Boat Services, who are the people that fitted this crane, that it was a naval architect that came and he designed all of where it should go and everything else, and it's a big bloody massive thing, way larger than on any other trader I've ever seen. 575, 535, 625, I've just not seen this type of crane. I'm not going to try and say the company, it's, you know it, if you know boats, it's like Opcare or something, and it's a bloody big electric crane, and it's all electric through all of the axes. So the problem is that the crane has to go right out on the port side, obviously, to swing out to lower the dinghy down. But the jet rib, as per like the original design of the boat, doesn't actually sit on the starboard side. It is more centre line to the boat. So when you've sorted out your tanks and you've got a full water tank and you've got full fuel tanks either side and you've got the jet rib up top in the centre line of the boat, you've still got more weight on your port side, up high, 20 feet up in the air maybe. So we need to therefore ballast the boat more on the starboard side. We think we're going to fill up with fuel, water, and just see what is happening, how much we need to do. Finding ballast, even in Plymouth, difficult job. Unusual, especially with motorboats. Yachts maybe, yes, but boatyards don't tend to just have ballast lying around. So I've been told what normally happens is you find out what you need, how much and where, and then you decide, you know, and when I say what you need, do you want lead, do you want it coated with polyurethane, or all sorts of options, shot, balls, ingots, you know. And once you've, let's just say you need 200 kilograms of lead in ingots that's covered in polyurethane. Well, then you go to a national lead supplier, give them about 600-700 quid, and they then deliver it to your handy boatyard down here, who then puts it in the right place and secures it and everything else. So unfortunately, despite the best wishes of Mr. Charlie Griffin, who's on the phone, let your fingers do the walking and go around, I've gone round, I've phoned all of the boatyards, and we're like, it's a rather strange odd request for such a large boat to have this. How much ballast do you need? Well, I don't know at the moment. What sort of ballast you need? Heavy ballast. So we can't just go round and get some here. And between now and when we hopefully head off to Norfolk on the 2nd of February, I don't think we're going to be able to procure enough. Hello? So I'm just doing some filming to record what we're doing. So here is Pete, who's on with the taking off of the port light and seeing how bad the rot is behind it. And Simon's attacking the fridge to try and get that out to get to the rectifier that we think's blown behind it.
I think we will. I'll need a hand though in a minute.
Yeah. I've got a hose because I'm going to get ready to get on some of the stuff that we brought. Brian's up top clearing Lake Independence, which is going to gush down here, so you don't want to be there when that happens. I'm about to put some more of the PuraClean stuff in, which is for the tanks, to give them a good second dose of that to sort those out and be clean once and for all. So we're all getting underway. So as ever with these things, it all starts happening. It's hard to stop and do some film updates, but I'll try and keep you updated as we go.
You have to take everything out to get that panel out. The whole thing to get that out.
Sorry. So what's the prognosis?
Well, obviously water's got in here because the seal's gone at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. And it's rotted that bit of... That's a bit of plywood with some sort of with this on top. I just want that replacing and the window putting back on, making it look so it matches.
And do you think this is suitable?
I mean, well, that's teak. I mean, that's very suitable to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I know. I mean, it's the same finish. It's just the grain's not in the right direction.
I don't know if that's going to be a problem.
No, I don't. I mean,
I can do it say from there to there. I need to look as though it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this panel does extend down. I've no idea how far, but inside the cupboard, that's a separate panel at the back anyhow.
Right.
You know, this has been put in as a unit with the back on. So I don't think it really matters if it's a bit raggy at the back. I don't think that matters at all, to be honest. What kind of sealant have we got to do it? Because it's got to be something really good, hasn't it?
I haven't got any at the moment.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't look like Sikaflex, or it might be.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, was it really difficult to get off?
It does actually peel off. It's not particularly brilliant. You can peel it off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Sikaflex or not.
Because Sikaflex is like, you can get different flavours which are not quite as aggressively bonding. Yeah. But that's going to have to be, we need something else. There's now 3 things we need from the Chandlers.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll have to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite thick enough, but I mean, there's enough there, you know, with both bits to sort something out. Yeah, it's the same finish, you know, which is ideal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's have to finish it. Brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, well I'll go and find the other chaps. So light is fading now. I'll show you, we're still doing the water tank, and we've got the teak cleaner ready to go. But what we've been tackling so far is just dealing with the decks, and if you have watched previous, you'll see this is a hell of a lot better. So that's what we're dealing with there. And then, as you can see, Charlie's just finishing off that side there. We're going to need some white nylon pads to tackle some of the streaks up there, and we need a new spring for the pantograph wiper arm there. So a lot to do still, but we're on with it. And because mainly what we're dealing with at the present time is just cosmetic, it is not engineering. Simon's still trying to figure out the fridge electrics. We're going to go and get a new rectifier for the fridge. And as you saw, Pete was just finishing off doing the port light. Well, I'll just bring you down here briefly. Another thing that's happened, she is no longer named a boat. You can just see where Lily Jean used to be. So we've got the decals ready to put on for that. And as I've been filling up the tank, and the weather's calmed down now, our list has gone. So we seem to be almost exactly trimmed. We've still got to put some fuel in the starboard tank, but actually I don't think we're going to need ballast after all. But we'll go into more detail about the fuel balancing later. We've also got to check the life raft and maybe take that somewhere for servicing. We've also got to, over the course of the time we're here, get the Williams rib up, figure out how to operate the crane, and this is the crane, this is the beast crane, an Opkamar crane, rather large it is too. I've been told that when this is in operation, and so you've got sort of 300 kilograms hanging off the side of the boat from 15 foot up, the boat does roll rather wildly. But as ever, as all I've said throughout this whole project, you know, we are dealing with a boat that has been left cosmetically for a while, and it's just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, and then eventually when it's in Norfolk we're going to get set with polishing. So it is a large boat, and there's an awful lot of, look at the size of this fender for example, that doesn't look that big until you put a size 10 foot next to it. So yeah, I'll try not to walk off the dock, but she's certainly got a nice hull form. Just, you can imagine the water's just going to come up here, get thrown sideways, and as it does at sort of, you know, 12-15 knots, it will then get thrown up and over, hence why this is rather a wet boat compared to a planing hull here, which obviously would be out of the water and the spray would be heading off down the side of the boat there. But each boat is different. I can tell that our list has gone because last night these fenders were not just touching the water, they were sort of virtually on their side, you know, at a very funny angle. Now they're just gently touching the water. Still filling the water tank though. The water tank is central, it's underneath the aft double, so this will neither add to this or take away from it. But there's about a kilogram of Puriclean in there, which is good enough to treat 1,000 litres, which is what the tank is almost. And then I'll run that to all the different outlets and let it rest, and then we'll do a flush through, and that will clean out the entire water system. I did do this before with just a couple of tubs and a half full tank, but this time we're doing the full thing. I do apologise that doing these updates you know, interrupting people working, stopping what I'm doing myself, it is that little bit hard to keep you fully up to date and with everything that's going on. The other things we're going to do is we're going to be taking away these canvas sides, cleaning them, not jet washing them, gently with a sponge, and then using a restorer to remove the hairline scratches on the plexiglass. You see some of my fasteners are missing. I don't do anything about that at the moment, but TrimNet of Chatham in Kent, very highly regarded canopy makers, can easily supply that. And actually here for the first time I've actually seen some damage to the boat, which is interesting. Some significant cracking up there to the fiberglass. Can you see there? And can you guess why that would be? I think I know where that could be. I think that's maybe where that 300 odd kilogram Williams tender up there has hit the side of the top of the sun deck there. Interesting. Not structural. There's no point there at all that holds it, so we're good there. But another thing for the list of things in Norfolk to sort out. We've also got new LED spreader lights up there, and you can see that my open antenna array for the Raymarine radar is spun round. That's what the wind did last night, forced it round. That camera doesn't work anymore. But anyway, so yes, if there's time later I'll update you with a few more things. We're going to wash the ropes because we're not going to be taking the boat to anywhere else looking with green ropes. There's nothing worse than a green boat, so it's time to get her gleaming. So as ever, more as it happens. So I haven't been able to do an update today of what's been going on because I've not really been around on the boat. I've been out and around with Simon, going all over and spending money. So, you know what it's like, you go out for a pint of milk and you come back and then your life raft. So, but I thought I'd do an update for what's actually going on and has happened so far. And I'll take you outside in a moment. But I'll first of all come down to the galley. And as we can see here, Pete is just about finished doing the port light, and now
put the finishing touches.
New trim piece in.
This is the hard bit, taking all
the goop off.
The black goop off everything. I can't really see what it looks like outside yet.
No. Well,
I have masked it off, so hopefully it should be a nice straight black line.
Otherwise, because you'll see guys outside, we've pulled the boat alongside the boat next to us for reasons which will become obvious in a moment. This is Simon, who's fitting our new rectifier for the fridge, which should fix the problem, and then we can keep the beers cold instead of a little one upstairs and all of the booze left over from the previous owner. We're going to got the rib crane controller, new tie down straps for the rib, instructions, petrol. As you can see, we've got Charlie outside trying to put a spring back on the wiper that he took off because this one's... Oh, he's putting the new wipers on. Right, we'll go and have a look at what he's doing. Brian's taking off the paint on the aluminium. It's a disaster everywhere, as you can see. Fuel for the rib. Pump because the side tubes need a bit of work doing on them. That's a new life raft. 6-man job. So when you add up this, the fuel, everything just today, including we're going to have new LED lights for the spreader lights, but we need a custom fit stainless steel mount there, this, so I've probably spent getting on for £2 grand today. Right, that's Charlie. He's just coming back from doing the...
But he's not doing, he's failing.
He's failing. Well, that's the first.
Right.
Temporarily set back is what it's called. We've still got to do the teak cleaning properly. These are the new wiper arms, or blades. They're Bosch Aero blades. So there's no, or very little, actual metal. So less chances of corrosion. As you can see, we're alongside here, this boat here is Brian, and he's scraping off all of the aluminium paint, which had flaked off a little bit like that. I don't know where Daniel's gone. We took the freshwater pump off, and then found in Plymouth you cannot buy, for love nor money, a 20 litre per minute 30 psi freshwater pump, or an accumulator tank more than 5 litres or more than 2 litres in size. So that's going to have to be put back on order. So the pump works, we've got fresh water, it's just not working properly. Clearly we've got a pressure situation there. The rain keeps coming and going. So it's just been one of those sort of full-on days. Let me show you some more stuff that's been going on. You notice all of the lines have gone because we've been cleaning and scrubbing them. As you can see, the fiberglass has all been brought up to scratch, so it's looking a lot better. I'll bring you up here, down here. There's the lines that we've taken off, as you can see, which will be further cleaned, but normally she's moored just there, but we need this space. And why do we need this space? Well, we need this space because you haven't seen this before, guys, in the blog, because it's always had the canopy up here, but this is the helm, the outside helm, as you can see. There's things that need replacing up here. For example, this is broken. This is the anchor switch. There's one inside the boat, but that's a Vetus Maxwell part. Easy enough to do. This has all been cleaned. The deck drains have been cleaned out. The rib, let's see how I'm going to get up here with the camera. This is the crane that we're going to figure out how the hell that works. Oh, and these, as you can see, are quite soft. Ah, handy, handy, handy. There is a pump. Good. It's just as well we didn't just put it in without me checking. They wanted to launch this without me here, but you see the bungs are removed, so that wouldn't be any good, would it? It would say, oh yeah, it's in the water, it's gone, it's sunk. So again, this needs a bit of a clean. Oh, it's called TT Lily Jean, so of course I need to name this. These are the spreader lights I was talking about. So need to be a bit careful around here because of the enormous height. There is nothing else in this marina as tall as this boat. So I've also got some new ratchets to hold her down. She's extremely well secured at the present time, which is good. These here are the lifting straps. You can see here they all attach in a single point, and then obviously you would crane it out. Now, answers on a postcard, guys, because okay, I'm figuring it out live as we talk. I think the crane needs to swing all the way around here to about here, because obviously of this. Extend the arm out, clip on here, lift the rib up, and then come out here all the way round. Sorry, you can't see my arm, all the way round, and then down there. So I expect what will happen is an awful lot of listing on the boat when this tries to get put down into the water. So there we are, the wind's got up, so I better go for now and get on with stuff and give you an update. I'm really sorry that the videos, they're not very long, they're not well done, but you know, it's not leisure time, it's working time at the moment. So oh dear me. So I'm a bit concerned also that the new life raft's not going to fit in this brace. I bet it's not. I bet that's just there just to be another, like, you know, problem. Everything's a problem. Go to replace this with a double socket. Can't. Need to put a double socket next door to it. Anyway, we will get there. So as ever more as it happens, I'm going to go and start sorting the rib out.